This red Roan Colt has been a little more challenging than the others. Here I'm moving him off the bag, and I go to fly spray him, and he tries to karate kick me. So we go to work, disengaging. This guy has been fly sprayed before, but he kind of likes to have a big reaction to something right when I start working with him. Even if it's something that he's seen before. And then we can kind of get on with our session. But he's more than happy to offer kicking my head in at this point. I try to introduce the fly spray again. Once again, he has been fly sprayed before, to the point where it was no big deal. I hang my spray up and grab my rope, hurry his butt around with the rope. I'm going to make him pretty uncomfortable for offering to kick at me, and in general being a butthead for something that he's already done. Change directions. Another thing this Colt likes to do is run me over with his shoulder, particularly on the right side. That's why I had such a reaction right there to him. I'm just looking for his hip. I don't want him to run me over. Change directions again. He hasn't seen that saddle out in the middle of the round pen before. I stop him right there because he's just going around being bully, pulling on me. Looking for his hip again. And I'm not messing around. When I ask, he needs to give me his hip. Here I'm throwing the rope around his legs. He offered to run me over again with his shoulder, so I step him across in front there, and then go back to desensitizing his legs. Now this is all something that he's had done before. He knows what's going on. Just his first response was to be kind of a bonehead about it. Swap to the other side, do the same thing, start with the hinds. Throw that rope around those back legs and his front legs. I go back over and grab my fly spray. Step him out in the open, so if he wants to be dumb and have a big reaction, I've got somewhere to go with him. And go ahead and fly spray him. He kind of wants to be uncomfortable and move around a little bit, but he didn't offer to karate kick my face in this time. I'm pretty careful on those back legs, but I'm still able to get him done. Swap sides, same thing. The spray bottle of death and destruction here. He stands pretty decently. It's not his favorite thing in the world, but he didn't try to kill me that time, so that's good. Then we jump into showing him the bag for the first time. This is one of my stages of preparation before I saddle one for the first time. I like to drag it around on the ground and lead the colt, let him see it, kick it at him, drag it along and jerk on it so it makes unexpected movements. It's very scary. I'll lead the colt along and I'll ask him to walk over it and change sides. Let it touch him on the front legs if they're brave enough. This guy gave it the hairy eyeball, but he wasn't very reactive to it. He never tried to kick at it or stomp it, which I was kind of surprised by based on how he's responded to some other things, like the fly spray. Ask him to change sides right there. He's really looking at it hard, but he never took it any further than that. This is kind of a game of keeping all of your rope organized. At least this time the lead rope for the horse and the rope for the bag weren't the same color. He did pretty well with this. He wasn't too bad. He wants to be kind of curious of it. Even offering to step right next to it or on it. That's excellent right there. He takes that time to sniff the saddle too. He goes to walk over it right there. Really nice stuff. Kick his hip over. So once they're pretty comfortable with me dragging it around, then I'll get gathered up and pick it up. Throw it up on their back. Let it hit the ground. Throw it up on their butt. Do the same thing. So I'm just messing around here, getting him comfortable. I'll pick it up and walk up to him and touch him with it, rub him with it, wait for him to stop moving before I release. He's not really having much of a reaction to it. Some horses get really worried about this. When he stops, I stop. I go back to literally sacking him out. Throw it up on his butt, drag it off. He doesn't seem real bothered by that. I was pretty surprised that he never offered to kick at this thing, since that's kind of his go-to. He's been kind of wicked with those hind legs. I pat on him right there. He's doing a nice job. So I'm pretty much ready to throw it over his back. Throw it over his back, under his belly and back to me, and then send him out on the circle. That bag drags along with him. That rope's touching his left rear leg and touching his flank on the offside. He was super gentle. Didn't offer to kick, didn't offer to speed up, didn't offer to get humpy, nothing. Praise him. Go gather up my bag again and do it again. I was really surprised that this guy was so gentle with the bag. So I didn't really set him up very well there, so I kind of moved so he didn't have to go over the top of my saddle there. He's not bothered at all by that bag being right behind him. Real quiet and careful. Not kicky, never got in a rush. I'm pretty impressed with him here. Get my bag gathered up and go to toss it over while he's in motion. Then I ask him to stop and gather my bag up. He's pretty interested in that saddle. He was really nice right here. Not at all in a rush. He offers to face up, but I ask him to stay out on the circle a little bit. I like stopping to be my idea. So when they're done with the bag, when I release them from it, I don't want them to find that they can just stop immediately. I want them to wait until I ask. I bring him back over to the bag there and pet on him. He's just sniffing it, checking it out there. I'm making it wiggle by messing with the rope. He's actually standing on it right there. I had to ask him to move so we could continue. Up and over. Interfered with the fence right there, so it was kind of unexpected. But he handled it fairly well. It just scared him. There, it's up in his back legs a little more than it has been. But it came off, which isn't ideal. If they're having a little bit of trouble like that, I like for the bag to stay on them until I can release them when they're quiet about it. That's just not how it works out all the time, though. Set it up again. Get it up in his back legs. He looks to me for direction. That's pretty nice right there. Not too bad. I get gathered up again and throw it up over him. He steps right on it when he leaves right there. That doesn't really bother him. Kind of spook him off of me there. Once again, the bag came off before I was ready. Sometimes he kind of wants to change directions without being asked, so that's what I'm correcting him for right there. Have him come off me a little bit. He's just offering to move off here. So then I step into the same program on the right side, throwing the bag up over him onto his butt and his back. And then dragging it off of him when he's still. He's not too bad for this. Then when he's pretty comfortable, I throw it up over his back to me. He offers to change directions first, but I was able to ask him to go back on the right circle, kind of trying to get him to move out there. Kicked a little sand, just trying to make some pressure there so he'd actually move out. And when he travels flat at the walk, I release him. He was a little bit sticky to start out on that one, didn't really want to move. Praise him. Go back over to our bag and get gathered up again. That's the most time-consuming part of this whole deal, is keeping all your rope straight. That bag's probably on 25 to 30 foot of rope, but you kind of have to have that much. I really overshot him that time. Send him out on the circle. Once again, he's kind of sticky. I had to try pretty hard to get him to move. The bag slipped off his hip, but he was pretty gentle about it, so it didn't really matter anyway. The part that bothers me is when the horse is really worried and the bag comes off, because then you're teaching them that's what you want. But if the bag comes off when they're traveling flat and they're real quiet about it, it's not really that big a deal. Kind of trying to hurry him a little bit. I don't want him to face me up. He needs to keep going out on the circle. He keeps trying to change directions on me. That's a pretty consistent problem for this guy. When he feels pressured, he wants me on his left side, and he's willing to run me over in some cases to get there. Release him. You'll notice I kept the bag on him a little bit longer towards the end of this session. trying to put a little pressure on him and then have him come back, instead of him just feeling like there's no pressure. Pet on him some, up and over. Ask him to move off. Really looking for him to move off here. He wasn't really wanting to come off my pressure at all. And of course the bag slipped off during that time. I'm just looking to get around him here so I can throw the bag over him again. It bonks him in the front legs. Kind of have to work to get him to move off. He's pretty happy to just stand there. And of course I'm using vocal cues with all of this too. I really get the bag up in his front legs right there. He stops and looks, but doesn't react aggressively or anything. All in all, pretty nice first exposure to the bag. I was quite happy with this guy. As always, thank you for watching.